What's up? It's Matt Love. We are downtown Manhattan in Central Park right now.
And we're getting ready to shoot the Earn More, Keep More show. And this week we have Drew and Gil as our guests. And they have a great radiology service where they're able to expedite radiology services for their customers. We're going to take a look at how they were able to build their business so that you can learn a little bit more about how you can build yours.
Me up beautifully, and that's why I stay plugged in and I always contribute to my community.
Welcome to the Earn More, Keep More show. I'm Dave McAndrews.
And I'm Matt Love.
And with us today are the founders of Premier Radiology Services, Drew Godet.
Good afternoon.
And Gil Patino.
How you doing?
And Premier Radiology Services focuses on teleradiology. Is that correct? Tell us a little bit about what you do and how you do it.
That's what we do. We receive x-rays and images from all modalities from across the country and assign them to the radiologist that has that state and provide the professional component or the report to let the doctors and patients know if they're broke or not.
Absolutely. I mean, the end result is a diagnostic patient report where the patient is put on directive of care.
So basically, people go out, get x-rays.
We're the guys who read it.
Read the x-rays, yes. And send it out to send the x-ray out to the interweb, and you provide them with the doctors who actually do the report.
That's correct.
Right. And that report goes to their actual treating physicians and further gets treated.
Yeah, we pride ourselves on creating that continuity of care. There's a lot of telerad companies out there that, get the report back in a timely manner and do a great job and great radiologists. But we actually create that continuity of care and go the extra mile and really make sure that we service the patient and our customers that are taking the x-rays.
I'm particularly excited that you guys are here because one, we have a launch happening right now today.
We do.
What kind of launch do we happen to have for you?
Our new website's going live today.
A brand new website going live today. So looking good. You're going to need to go check that out at premierradiologyservices.com. See and learn a little bit more about what they do to provide the best teleradiology in the business.
That's right.
But what we're here to talk to you guys today about is a little bit something called Lagniappe.
Lagniappe?
Matt, have you ever heard this term?
I have not heard of Lagniappe.
Drew, tell me a little bit about this this term Lagniappe.
Lagniappe is a Cajun term. It's given a little something extra. So when you would go to the market, the farmer's market, and you buy some vegetables, they would give you a little sampling of some spices and have that little extra. The theme, kind of like a baker's dozen.
Okay.
A little extra.
Yeah.
And Lagniappe has really become kind of a calling card for Premier Radiology, in that every time that you're having an interaction with a customer, you're really looking for additional ways to add value.
Yes.
And I think one of the really cool things about, and I know your story a little bit, and I'd love for you guys to share a little bit about your story, is the fact that really Premier started from that type of idea. You saw a need in the market and you really worked with your customers to find how to figure out how to service that need.
That's true. Very true.
Tell the story, man. How do we kick off?
Well, the company was started on a lagniappe. So we were actually providing, Gil and I were marketing partners at a diagnostic center in Miami. And we were going out to the physicians in the neighborhood and finding out what other ways to add value to our service and send us your MRI patients as opposed to the 8 to 12 other MRI centers in the neighborhood.
Right around the corner.
Yeah, and primary care and workman's compensation clinics were having a hard time facilitating their x-rays being read. So we said, okay, well, look, if we could help you out with our radiologist helping you read your x-rays, could you help support us on the MRIs? And that's what happened.
Not to mention these x-rays for these doctors that work with us on the MRI centers, taking days for their patients getting back their actual reports.
For their turnaround times, yeah. So we really made that an efficient process and then formalized Premier Radiology from the two sales guys to owning the teleradiology business, and kind of kept that same idea of how do we always go the extra mile, give a little extra, and find different ways to help our customers.
That extra little x-ray service was the Lagniappe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that the idea of finding places that you can add value to your customers is one of the critical points for any business. And Matt, I know that you and I have talked a lot about this. How do you make connections for your customers? How do you find additional ways to become really part of their lives, an integral part of their lives? What's your thought on that?
I think it's crucial. Anything that's makes the client sit back and go, "Oh wow, no one's ever done that." That's the moment that that person will never forget. So that to be able to duplicate that and turn that into the process it's crucial for the growth that you want to see.
And when that happens, it goes from a transaction, just having a transactional customer of some sort, to really you become a valued relationship for them. You know, having seen you guys' business grow, you have provided a number of different areas where you provided that extra value and found ways to make yourselves an integral part in really providing that above and beyond what most people would do. Because at the end of the day, you know, if you, from the financial services world, if you just go out and you say, okay, I'm going to provide some financial services. Okay, who else is doing that, Matt?
Right.
How many people are going out and providing financial services?
Here, go to any business networking meeting in the country, and
there'll be 10.
Yeah, and I call it a business networking meeting, a BNI group, and you'll see a couple of financial professionals in there trying to pitch products.
Right.
The idea of Lagniappe, the idea of finding additional ways to drive value for your customers, I think is an integral part of your story. But you guys have experienced some pretty phenomenal growth over the years. Tell me a little bit about, and I think particularly the business owners out there are interested in the fact that, okay, you start with what you're good at, and then you kind of expand into other areas, and then all of a sudden you're doing all kinds of stuff trying to figure it out. And I got to have dinner with you guys last night, and we had this conversation about, hey, you remember when we were doing this, and this, and now we have the right pieces in place.
That's right.
Just talk a little bit about how that has happened, how that's transpired over the years, and what that making the changes, making those right hires, all those sorts of things. What has that contributed to what you understand and how you guys work as business people?
Well, our growth has been really organic, and staying true to the customer and true to the patients in our business is really the number one priority. And I think we've been able to growth and still maintain that quality and keep those relationships established. And along the way, different opportunities present themselves, and you create more tighter relationships with your current customers, and they vouch for you, and you're able to kind of network everybody together and keep adding the value, and thank goodness that just keeps going the right way for us.
Yeah, and even experiencing that hyper growth, trying to get the pieces to fit correctly has been the biggest challenge, I think, in any company. And we've managed to roll with the punches while keeping our quality up there.
Exactly.
So that's hard to do.
Yeah.
But our goal ultimately.
Right.
So talk to me about that hyper growth period. Like what does that feel like when you're in the middle of it?
It feels like a nonstop grind.
Nonstop grind?
Day and night. Drew and I would be communicating 9, 10, 11. It doesn't matter at that point. Just if something needs to be taken care of, it needs to, because, you know, I mean, we're dealing with patients here. This isn't just regular everyday stuff. You know, these are people that are needing directives of care. So
Right.
It's important.
Exactly.
I think too many, especially young entrepreneurs, they have an idea, they want to go after something, and they move to implement that idea, but they don't really have an idea on how hard it's going to be in order to get from the position you were. What year did you guys start?
In 06.
06, we started while we were still working for another company as marketing representatives, but really in 08 was when we kind of committed 100%.
That was a good time in the economy to start a business too.
You know, right place, right time.
Right place, right
that's
time.
Everything. I agree.
In South Florida, no less.
Yes.
So the one of the crushed housing markets of the company at the latter part of the early aughts.
I'll give you an easy example, and I think about it all the time. Well, we had a mutual friend, Danny, which was also a marketing rep, and he is the type of person where He just wants the best for himself, like everybody does, but, he really doesn't consider too many people. So he wanted to go down south to the CMI South where he was working at CMI North. And to him it was like, oh, I'm going to do that because that's really advantageous for me. Screw CMI North. That's when I got hired and went to North. Had he not have done that, me and Drew wouldn't have hooked up and this baby wouldn't have been born.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful thing.
Right place, right time.
Right place, right time.
Finding that right place, right time at a hard time in the economy to start a business. But because of the fact that you were, I think explaining that the other rep moving to where the grass was greener, you were actually looking for ways.
Which is nothing wrong with that.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
You're looking out for yourself. I get that.
Yep.
There's no,
But you were looking for ways to make the grass greener for your customers.
Yes.
Right.
And I think that's a huge differential. Whenever you are looking to make the grass greener for your customers, if you're willing to spread that manure, if you're willing to make that commitment and try to make what they're doing better and add value to that, I think you almost always get rewarded for that.
That's
You
right.
always believe that. Absolutely.
The more you give, the more you receive.
Now, can we quantify some of that too? Because this Lagniappe idea is interesting. What do you think, if you could put one or two things on the table, how did you separate yourself from the competition?
One of the latest examples is B-reads is a very specialized chest x-ray, and OSHA put out a surveillance for workers that deal with industrial dust called silica.
Mm-hmm.
So B-read's a very subspecialized radiology certificate and
It's a study, specialized study, classification. Yeah.
classification. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And nobody really has B-reads because it used to be for coal miners and you had to do them on analog film. And so this
When the big thing was asbestos.
Yes, and now there's millions of workers that have to get an annual screening for this B-read for silica. So we went directly to our urgent care and OCMED clinics and made them aware of this surveillance, and they started marketing to their customers. But in our mobile diagnostics as well, we said, hey, this could be a good opportunity for customers that were traditionally going into nursing homes and prisons and home care with the x-rays and ultrasounds. Now you could open up and shift and say, hey, call in the cement plant in your town and go roll up your mobile x-ray and do 30 to 50 employees, help them out, helps, added revenue, and we would get the B-read. So connecting the dots and making
You allowed that your customer find more customers for themselves.
That's right.
Yeah, and ultimately you'll win, but they're the one that they succeeded first off of
Yes.
that whole.
And really, like, part of the Lagniappe that we were talking about was the fact that we were actually the first company to digitize this classification report.
That's cool. I want to talk about that.
Which nobody really did before. And the B-reads, we're taking up to a week,
Yeah.
basically. So we decided, we can do this digitally. We can. We made the report completely. If there's ever any fines, we make sure that they're made aware immediately. That's part of the Lagniappe we were talking about. It's crucial to get the right information. If you have a report, you don't even get it back to the physician timely, then it's of no use. Basically, you never did the report. So yeah, we try to take good care of that.
That's right.
And so you guys kind of approached it in a much different way than probably a lot of radiology groups out there, in that you started on the sales side and then partnered up with the doctors. Just talk a little bit about how that kind of transpired for you and what you were able to bring from the sales side in order to make that type of transition make sense.
Yeah, we started small, just Gil and I, and had a few accounts and subcontracted out to a few radiologists in town and from Miami. And as we began to grow, one of the radiologists kind of saw us and said, hey, putting sales and customer service in front of the radiologist makes a lot of sense. So,
because radiologists, I don't know if the audience knows this or not, but radiologists are not known for being the most gregarious salesmanship type of
right.
characters in the world.
Yeah, they pick a discipline of medicine where they choose to do their medicine in a dark room in front of a computer, and they're not stereotypically engaging.
I feel like you guys are being politically correct.
Stereotypically,
You mean the guys that like to be in a dark room and not bothered all day? Yeah.
Yes.
a nice, quiet, dark space.
So a lot of what we talk about too is, when we can turn a problem into a process, it's no longer a problem. And that's where a lot of companies start to succeed, and then it also allows us to scale grow bigger. What problem did you see that you said, we got to fix this and turn that into a process? Do you have any examples?
Sure. Well, I mean, the example was at the very beginning, before the company, was when we were working as diagnostic reps, and our in-house radiologist was not doing what he should be doing marketing-wise. When he would speak with our referring physicians, it was almost in a combative fashion.
Oh,
So all the business we work hard to get, he would lose for us.
wow.
And that's kind of the beginning of the idea, we can do this better. We can align ourselves with the right people that understand the marketing aspect of it. So that was basically the birth of Premier Radiology Teleradiology Services.
So Earn More, Keep More 101. Don't fight your customers. And if you do fight your customers, you should fire that customer so that you don't have to worry about that, or fire the person that's on your staff who's fighting with them.
Right.
That's right.
And work as a team. I mean, we were a team, but it almost felt like he was on the other team.
Yeah.
So
The enemy within.
basically, yes.
And
We'll defeat all the time.
And
whatever you've done.
one of the things that we talked a little bit about last night at our dinner was the fact that getting the right mix of people on the team with the right skills. As you grow, those people may be different people.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about your experience with that.
Well, as we scale, you're always cost conscious, and you want to make sure you're profitable and making the right moves, and every dollar counts in these days in business. So making those investments into your business are hard decisions, but making the right decision.
Because when you're the entrepreneur, you decide to hire somebody. All of that money is coming out of your pocket.
That's correct.
And training, for that matter, because it takes time.
But then watching that investment turn in that it took you to a whole nother level, that's really impactful. When those investments are made and those decisions are made, and you watch your business go from a level of where it was, exponential growth, those are the times where, like you said, when you're finding a problem, creating a process, making the decisions, and taking the business to another level.
Yeah.
And like Drew said, we're all cost conscious when we hire. As entrepreneurs, we have a bottom line we need to meet. We have fixed costs. Getting the right puzzle the right way. Mm-hmm. That's really what you need to do. And sometimes, it does cost a little more, but in the long run, that's what you need.
Right.
And we all come to the table with our own particular skill set.
Sure.
And you guys coming in through the door as originally marketing reps, and then I know Gil, you took on the role of IT and operations, and taking on all of that, and then you continued to market and
right.
sell. But that's got to be a challenge for you, moving into all these different areas where there's a huge learning curve, and there's a lot of you don't know what you don't know. Sure. And just talk a little bit about that process of growth and pain. Sure. And all that good stuff.
I mean, definitely it was learning, but at least for me, if you really like something, genuinely like something, you kind of just enjoy learning it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, obviously there's growth pains because it affects our ultimate outcome, our reports. But I also had support in that end. I wasn't completely alone, but I really liked what I did. I liked the PAC system that we were working on, which is the medium where the doctors actually read the images, and then I took it from there.
And the trick there is a lot of times when you're on that learning curve and you're trying to surround yourself with support, you don't know what they don't know.
Right.
And trying to find the right person to help support you in what you're trying to accomplish, that can be a really difficult hire. What are some of the things that, just through trial and error you may have gone through in order to find out how to know if somebody is really knows everything they need to know for those types of positions?
Well, that's simple. Resumes can be made. And we had a perfect example where everything looked perfect on paper. All the right words were said, even in interviews. And come time where you're hired, where the person was hired, we definitely did not know anything.
The performance the performance didn't match.
And I just couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't put I just couldn't understand it. I'm like, but what is going on? But luckily, we've gone through enough of those to where we had to cut our losses right away, and that's one of the major parts is you need to know when to say when. Because otherwise it's just taking up time, it's taking up resources, stressing everyone out in the business.
So people on paper aren't exactly necessarily who you might think they are.
I mean, we've all done resumes.
Yeah.
We all want to make it look pretty, but it's I guess it takes a special person.
You could Photoshop a
go
college
that far.
degree nowadays, you know?
That's true.
Well,
Not
look,
that I've done that
look at our
in-
look at
I
our
really-
radiologists nowadays. They don't just accept diplomas; they do a whole check to the actual
Do they really?
colleges and institutions.
That's
Wow.
right.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's an old saying too in business that I was like, it's take a long time to hire, but be very quick to fire.
Exactly. And
Yes.
I think that's when we experience hyper growth, I think we're so in need of more resources and more help that
We wanted to
sometimes
believe.
you go
We
straight for
want
somebody,
to
you look
believe,
good
yeah.
and I need that whole field.
Yes,
Get in
yes.
there, do it.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a little too quick to
You got
quick to
excited.
hire on that one.
Yeah.
So
But the
You
need
learn,
was there,
you
and,
learn.
and we wanted that to be true.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And two, when you're first starting out as a company and you're in your early stages, especially when you're as focused as you guys are on the betterment of your customers, the betterment of your clients, you're also feeling that same way about your staff. And occasionally that can actually become a liability where you're trying to make it work so hard that even if they have a significant talent gap, you just are trying to overlook it just to get them to the next level, hoping that they'll turn into a butterfly instead of a moth.
Superstar.
Definitely, especially when you've put so much time and effort in trying to make this work. You know, you don't want to just. You're right about quick to fire, but if there's some potential there, we'll try at least.
Yeah.
But you're right about that. Can't waste too much time in that.
Yeah, yeah. So the idea of Lagniappe, this is obviously something. Did you coin? You didn't coin this term.
No, this is a Creole.
It's an
Okay.
old
Phrase.
Cajun term, correct.
And so is this like on your forward thinking, like every day, every week, every month? Are you trying to create a new Lagniappe, or what's the next Lagniappe type of thing? Like,
Yes.
because you've identified it, how often does it come up, and when do you try and actually create one, a new one?
We were kind of doing it innately, just the way that we kind of sell and the way we network and get everybody together and find that little extra something special for our customers. And we kind of define the process now. So yeah, now it's a formal thing. What's going to be our Lagniappe this month for this vertical and this type of customer? What can we do a little something extra for this type of customer? What are we hearing out there? What are other customers doing successful that we could enlighten them to say, hey, these guys are running these sequences or these studies or these diagnosis codes. Did you know? Or are you aware of these type of opportunities to go into your market and ask those doctors for those type patients?
I feel like it's a no-brainer to do it as a business owner,
Sure.
but as we're so quick to try and get the next business too, right? So we got a client, we get a case, cool, move on, go to the next one. To have that forward thinking of going the extra mile consistently is the key. Because anyone listening is going to go, yeah, I mean, I get that, but how often do we actually do it?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's like Drew was saying. I mean, we kind of did it already.
Yeah.
We just, and I think it's because we're generally just nice guys. You know, we want to do the right thing always, and we try to do the right thing always, and that's what's brought us true success, I think. But yeah, we already do that. So when looking back, we're like, wow, that's Lagniappe. That's, you know, it's there.
That's cool.
So-
'Cause I'm a big believer that people do business with people.
Yes.
They don't do business with numbers. They don't, in the financial world, there are so many financial advisors that get obsessed with numbers. The day that your financial plan is printed on a piece of paper, it's obsolete because the market's going to change, the economy changes. So numbers don't matter, people matter. And I'm a firm believer if you're good with people, you can grow a business. So that's kind of like what you're describing.
That's the problem in teleradiology now is that patients, people are being treated like widgets.
Yeah.
You know, just another
Products.
number.
It's a number.
I mean,
Exactly.
all
It's a good point.
healthcare is being like that. I
Yeah.
mean, the doctors are getting compensated a little less nowadays, so to them it's volume.
Yeah.
You know, it's let's herd the cattle, let's get them in and out.
Yeah.
That's what's happening, and for us,
And that's
Where's
really
the trend? What do you think is going to be happening in the future too? Do you think that's going to get better or worse for a physician?
I think it's probably, in my opinion, a little worse because they're going to be hiring, people under them, basically seeing patients, and then they're coming in signing off, but truly it's not, the optimal way to practice medicine.
Yeah.
But again, it becomes numbers,
Finding
And-
those ways to stay engaged and stay connected
Yeah.
with the referring physicians and making sure the patients are putting on a directive of care sometimes gets lost in translation by just producing a report. So going that extra mile and making sure those referral sources and customers, let them know we're accessible. If you have questions or if you have comments, we can get the radiologist to discuss it on the phone. We can make it be a virtual office. In the olden days, where the radiology department was in the hospital, they were right down the hall. So
Yeah.
an ER doc could walk down and say, what's going on with this?
Yeah.
What do I order next? What happens?
And this speaks to the continuity of care
That's
idea,
right.
correct? Just talk a little bit more, having that relationship between the ER doc and that radiologist, what does that add to the equation for ultimately the patients?
That's right. So there's a lot of perception that continuity could be disconnected if it is outsourced. And so we create, it's almost like we're a virtual office where we can have direct and immediate communication with that provider, with the ER doc, saying, okay, I know it's broke, but what do I do next? What test do I order? Should I get a CT? Should I get an MRI? What would be next? So having that real-time engagement makes all the difference in the world.
And that's something that we offer all our clients, is the fact that you can access our radiologist anytime. So, he's part of your practice. Utilize him.
I think that's really cool to be able to do. There's a lot of businesses out there that, use technology, but they're not using it the right way. Here's an example of you're focused on the relationship part, and the technology is just a tool to help exploit that relationship, make it easier.
Exactly. A perfect example is that we don't lose customers.
Yeah.
It's extremely rare, and if we do, could be a price related or cost related on their side.
Yeah.
Or they didn't pay their bill.
Or they didn't pay.
There's that.
Which also rarely happens.
The ones that pay their
find
bill
someone else.
make they usually make better customers anyway.
Yes.
Sure.
Generally speaking.
Anyone listening at home, go for the customers that pay.
but I really think your point about having that relationship, as we become more and more advanced technologically, there is a tendency for really most businesses to become more mechanical, more machine-like. And I think that is a huge mistake.
Sure.
Because at the end of the day, like you said earlier, people want to do business with other people.
That's right.
People want to know that there is a doctor that is looking at their exam, making sure that they are going to be all right. That's what they care about. That's what their patient cares about. That's what the doctor on the other end cares about.
That's right.
Making technology more human
That's a challenge.
has to be first and foremost, if you run some sort of technology company out there, finding ways to put real human touch points into your process makes a massive difference, because I really believe that can't by itself can significantly separate you from anybody else trying to make the next robot to replace people.
Well, yeah, just to give an example, like text messages, people get into arguments with each other over text messages.
Oh man, we have a joke. If you want to be misunderstood, text somebody.
Yes, and so many times, I've dealt with that with certain doctors because they like to text and they're not very confrontational. They like to hide a little bit behind, the viewer. and I'm seeing these texts just escalate slightly. I'm like, wait, I'm calling him right now and then you talk to them and it's a whole different.
You have to.
Story.
That's a great point. In relationships, even like if my wife is listening, I'm sorry about the text message miscommunication. But it always happens
It does.
in business, in relationships.
And they try to replace it with smiley faces.
Yeah.
Or this is how I really feel. How about you pick up the phone and speak to someone else? And
Huge.
there you go. Yeah.
So accessibility is huge. But giving in the way that like you mentioned, in the medical world where the physician-client relationship is kind of just going away, that's more and more important. That could be the next Lagniappe. How can you get technology to help with that?
Sure.
How do you get time together?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the question. On our end, we don't deal with the patients, but I think the quicker we're able to get the physician what he needs, the quicker he can handle the patient.
Yeah.
And get that continuity of care.
Yep. So you make it easy for him.
Yep.
Make it easy
Make
as
everything
possible.
accessible. Make the reports. I mean, we've gotten to the point where he can basically look up the images and the report on his phone, on his cell phone.
Oh, that's
So talk about, you got it all there. It's there.
yeah. Wow.
It's hugely important, and I think really the takeaway from this conversation is
Here's the takeaway.
find the areas where you can add value to your customers, because if you can continuously add value and deepen that relationship, you're no longer a commodity.
Right.
That's right.
And in our day and time, you if you have any type of business, you want to be a little bit more than an Amazon ad.
Sure.
Because you're just caught in a sea of the same stuff.
That's right.
Being able to decommoditize yourself by providing that extra value, by deepening that relationship, by providing that continuity of care, and putting a human face and voice and touch onto whatever technology you're utilizing to do that, that is the massive separation.
We have a person always on the phone. One thing I can't stand is when I call somewhere and you get someone to leave a message.
Yeah.
We've made it, we only want to get that person-to-person relationship across to our clients. So if they call, there's always someone, and they direct them right away to someone and handle their problem. So
Yes.
we don't
Live person.
Well, that's part of our
Right.
whole quality, our speediness of getting the report to the. If that problem isn't solved, then there's a patient hanging out there
Yes.
in limbo.
Waiting to be put on a directive of care.
I wish Comcast.
And this
had
is
mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
thank God for ISP phones. I mean, that's all I want to say. Sorry, AT&T.
That's right.
But yeah, I mean that's important, and we provide that 24/7, 365. So yeah, there's always someone there, and it is a little more costly to do that, but to us it's invaluable.
Right.
It's the human touch.
It is.
Giving human voice or human touch to a technology company is massive.
And at 3 a.m, when our people may be tired, they still have to give that smiley face and a warm welcome.
Yes.
If not, we find out about it.
Yeah, and that's the Lagniappe in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And you can't even quantify it. You mentioned
No.
the cost. There's a little bit of a cost involved. You can't quantify the happiness on the other line. That's someone who's not going to go somewhere else to talk to an answering machine. They're going to stay there so they can talk to
Yep.
their buddy on
I
the
mean,
phone.
we've had to take calls where it's not even our people. These people are frustrated on the other end. They're at a nursing home, for example, at 3 a.m. because they got to get up. They're screaming at our guy because they did the wrong study.
Yeah.
And our people understand it's not you, it's not personal. Just take the call and we'll deal with the owners the next day. For example.
Yeah.
Right.
people want to be heard.
Yep.
They want someone to listen to them and their story. And I just want to wrap up by going back to the fact that you guys were already doing something in terms of providing that extra bit of value by having that as your operating system. And you guys chose to use that as one of your main ideas in marketing and all that sort of thing, having this idea of Lagniappe. And it works for you because it's authentic to you guys. You guys believe in it. You do it naturally. And that's a huge lesson for the folks out there is if there is something that is core to who you are and you can leverage that thing as something that you can make available to your potential customers, people will feel that.
Yes. Keep it genuine.
Keep it authentic. Find a way to be authentic as possible, and people can read that. If you are inauthentic in your business, if you're trying to say that you're something you're not, if your resume is full of crap, people will understand it. You will be found out. You need to find those things that are true and core to who you and your company are,
Good point.
and leverage and really focus on those.
Well said.
So if you are in need of radiology services, if you're out there and you're connected to healthcare, or you just want to see a really well done website, you really need to go check out premierradiologyservices.com to see what these guys are doing. As always, go to earnmorekeepmore.show. Check us out. There's lots of resources we'll give the links to Premier, as well as maybe even drop a little extra Lagniappe to our listeners.
Right on.
So I am all about stealing good ideas wherever I can find them. so we will throw that out to you. Join us on the socials, and we look forward to interacting with you there.
And thanks to you guys. This podcast of Earn More, Keep More, it's going to help a lot of people. And thanks for having us on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
In beautiful New York City. by the way.
Downtown
We were
NYC.
supposed to get some snow, but there's just a little
flurry.
By Michigan standards, it's barely a
This is
barely a
summertime for you
dusting.
guys.
That's
Yeah, we could have this in
Yeah,
June.
exactly.
That's why you're wearing shorts. I get it.
They'll never know. Thanks, guys.
All right.
right.
That's it. We'll see you next time on the Earn More, Keep More show.
See you guys.
Bye.
Drop the mic.
I'm Matt Love.
And I'm Dave McAndrews,
And we are downtown New York City today on a beautiful sunny day.
bringing you the latest in how to earn more and keep more.
And if you're a business owner like us, you're interested in growing your business. There's only two ways to make that happen. Either you increase your sales or you reduce the cost that you had to incur to make those sales.
Click below or go to earnmorekeepmore.show.
This has been a Goalpost production.
That's it for us. We are your hosts, Dave McAndrews and Matt Love. Our executive producer and creative guru is Jennifer McKinstry. Our social media director is Mark Farnes. And a very special thank you to Lansing's own Jose Moore for providing the music.
Thanks for listening.